What is up, guys? You know what time it is. Time for day 4 of my program. Gym was packed as always. Welcome to January. And guess what? I actually warmed up today. If by warm up you mean sat on a foam roller and talked to my wife, which is pretty dope. So, here just kind of flossing through. I was a little bit beat up. You can see the new ring there. I think my wife comes over and shows hers. Yep. We got ourselves these little like silicone rings called Groove rings. If Groove wants to give us a sponsorship, that'd be great. And they're really nifty. You don't have to take them off when you weightlift or rock climb or whatever you do. So we love them. They're great. My lats were garbage and my quads were sewage. Just absolute nonsense. So wearing a sweatshirt here, trying to get my body temperature up a little bit, rolling around, gyrating all over that foam roller. This whole section is actually sped up. I don't normally weasel around on the floor that fast, but felt good to dig into the lats. Of course, the upper back, popping some joints and stuff, kind of cueing some things, and then really flossing into the quads, which was just painful. I'll be honest, I don't, how do I say this? I don't notice the biggest difference in the world foam rolling versus not foam rolling, workout to workout. But over the long course of time, even a week or so, I do notice a difference. I do notice feeling a little bit faster recoveries, kind of bouncing back from some brutal workouts a little bit faster when I foam roll. I think I'm just squishing the blood into the muscles, kind of stimulating some areas. And if something's really, really bad, I can floss into it and kind of be aware of it before I jump into a heavy lift on it. So jumping on the foam roller, just working back and forth here. For me, working on getting into that overhead position, my upper body needs some work. Really my shoulders. I think my back is tight, my triceps are tight, my shoulders are tight. But it's all good. You know, that's why we're here. We're here to train, we're here to get better. So putting on the Adidas Weightlifters. Love these shoes, best weightlifting shoes I've ever seen. Aaron, if you're watching, get yourself a pair, my man. You need these for sure. If anyone's watching and they struggle with dorsiflexion in the ankle or hip impingement or whatever, these are going to just help with it all. I mean, they're going to clean up a lot of that inability to move, and they give you such a good, stable platform. Everything feels better. So flip. When I'm working on my weightlifting program, like I am now, like my programming is for Olympic-style weightlifting, I pretty much first exercise, jump into those, and last exercise, come out of them. I mean, it's the entire workout. I don't care if I'm benching or overhead pressing or even deadlifting. I will wear that heeled Olympic weightlifting shoe just because I want as much translation into competition or the platform, quote unquote, as I can. And I think having the same shoe on for most or all of it is probably the best way to do that. I maybe once in a blue moon will kick the shoes off and deadlift in my socks, but that's just depending on how I feel and what all's in the programming and everything else. So program calls for a 5 double front squat, 5x2. Started with a bar, started with some 45. Shoulders are tight as a fiddle string. And that's something you'll notice a little bit later in this workout as well, when you start talking about overhead mobility and whatnot. So kick the sweatshirt off, allow the shoulders to breathe a little bit, which is always a good thing. I went from the bar to 135 to 185. That's a set of 225 for a double, and then into my working sets, 275 pounds, some number of kilos for 5 sets of 2 repetitions. Felt pretty good. I was trying to control the descent and trying to stay fairly upright on the way up. If you front squat a lot, you can resonate with this. It didn't feel heavy. It didn't feel challenging to stand back up, but I felt so lazy doing this workout that my body just wanted to shoot the hips back and just make my arms hold the weight instead of keeping it on the core, keeping it over the legs and making them press up. It's just, it's such a hassle to try not to be super lazy when lifting, especially at the end of the day. Here you'll see my wife coming over for a little bit of Dr. Tyler Eddy, chiropractor extraordinaire. I watch a lot of YouTube, guys. What can I say? Crunch, that felt good. Flip sides, please. Good, just like that. Pull that over and crunch. Have a nice day. Thanks for coming in. See you next time. Cured her. Trying to restore some mobility. Definitely, man, I can't talk at all today. Definitely appreciate having my wife to work out with, even when she gets in my camera shot like that. Thanks, hon. Set 4, 5. This is the last set. Front squats are just the biggest pain and the best movement all wrapped into one. Felt good, warmed everything up, trying to stay nice and stable, take it nice and slow. And then we finally get into the fun portion. Snatches. This is a pause snatch. So it's 5 doubles. Pause snatch is the first movement. Second repetition or second movement is a behind the neck snatch grip split jerk. And in retrospect, I wouldn't have programmed this. And here's why. The weight, my maximal weight that I can pause snatch is far less than what I can behind the neck snatch grip jerk. So I push myself to my limits. This is like a 95% paused snatch, which is great for position, great for everything, but I really struggled to be challenged in the split jerk with it. So I did it, but in retrospect, I would divide those into 2 separate movements so I could go quite a bit heavier on my split jerk. You'll see here, I think that's a $135. There's just no ROM, there's no challenge there. Easy peasy donut shop. I think I actually missed this 185 right here. Like I said, super lazy. I actually caught it too far back, as you'll see in the slow-mo here. Weight comes up, good contact, pull under the bar. I would have caught it so high. Pull too far back, which bounce it too far forward, which means I drop it. Get my mind right, take a little drink, come back. It really isn't easy. I mean, this isn't even body weight. Like, it should be flawless. But I honestly find it a little bit easier to snatch heavier weight. I get deeper in the pocket. It's harder. Even if you make an error on the bar doesn't respond as much, if that makes sense. So I don't know, if you're not training 90% plus of your strength lifts, you're wrong. You're straight up wrong. Get out of the gym, huh? Save the bars and plates for those of us that totally know what we're doing. Clearly, look at us. Easy. These felt good. I like a pause snatch. I really work on pausing basically just below the knee. I pull up just for that split second, kind of arrest my momentum right below the knee, and that allows me to feel kind of that power position. It almost becomes like a stagnant snatch from the hang, which also feels really good, but there's no stretch shortening cycle like there is with a hang snatch where you dip or drop the weight and then pull into your snatch. But I 225, didn't miss any of the heavier sets, felt pretty good, and snatching is just such an amazing lift as far as what it does. For the stimulation of your nervous system, for the growth of certain muscularities, for the balancing out of your core and everything else. It's just an amazing athletic lift. I love weightlifting, I really do. This cycle here, this weightlifting program I've been doing and posting up here on YouTube has been a lot of snatching, which has been great. I've seen 30 or 40 pounds go up on my snatch, and it's feeling really, really good. My confidence has gone up. I've put on about 10 pounds or so just going through this. Everything's going great with it, but my clean and jerk is what I need to tackle next. It needs a little bit of love. Next on the docket, you see my sweet little ring there, is a pause squat. I just left 225 on the bar and just took it for a single just to see how everything was feeling. Everything was feeling good, so I jumped right into my working sets. Sets of 3, 5x3 at 275 pounds. Felt pretty good. I don't know, I haven't been doing a lot of back squatting. Comparatively, I know for Olympic weightlifting, I should be squatting like 7 times a day and all that, but yes, a day, not a week. But I'm just so addicted to the lifts. It's hard to do my auxiliary work here. Feels pretty good though, and I'm coming all the way down, deep pause, standing it back up. I could feel this time doing these squats today, I could feel, so acutely every little inch that the barbell would move out of an ideal position. Just a little bit too far forward, a little bit too far backwards, just a little bit off kilter, off balance, and it was messing me up. I was pretty fatigued at this point, but honestly, it was, I don't know. I feel like I'm feeling what's wrong really well, so hopefully that segues into feeling what's right and doing what's right. I'm trying to control my descent quite a bit more to build that strength, stay tight in the pocket, and really work on standing it up fairly upright instead of getting bent too far forward. And some of these reps are better than others, for sure, when it comes to getting tipped forward or leaned forward. But, I want it to translate to my clean, my front rack clean, my overhead in the squat, or the snatch, the overhead squat position, as much as possible. And both of those are fairly upright squat mechanics. So I'm trying to use my back squat to depth and staying fairly upright. Felt pretty good, though, all things considered. 275 for pauses, pretty deep pauses, long pauses, deep depth, long pause, deep depth. Felt good. clearly. Cheerio. Last movement here is a little bit of a complex. And dadgummit, my little upper body just can't keep up. 205 on the bar. What it is basically 4 movements. It's a power clean, push press, push jerk or power jerk, and then a paused split jerk. So you'll see me dip, pause, and pop. And I want to almost mess around with a little bit wider grip on the bar. This is where an immovable object meets an unstoppable force. Switch that the other way around. Because the wider I go on the bar, the tighter my front rack gets and the more painful, essentially, especially through my elbows. I'll get elbow tendonitis if I don't use my arm aid and roll out and everything. I might make a video on that, actually, because I think it's worth it. But, yep, fighting through those reps, that lockout is so hard. But I cleaned 295 a couple times this week, and I missed the jerks on them. And I don't think it was because of the jerk technique itself. I think it's just a little, well, it was. I mean, the jerk was sloppy and everything else. Overhead is a tough position for me. I'm tight in my shoulders and I don't take enough time to loosen up. I need to get a set of monster bands. I need to start cueing, breathing, bracing, just getting everything done the way that I should. And frankly, it's a little bit of a mess here when it comes to my overhead positioning. So you can see I added in here, or left in here, I should say, what I do between sets, find somewhere to sit and sit. You know, walking around, getting a drink. I try to just take my mind off the lift. Little bit of pushing underneath the bar there, so not really a strict push press. I don't know what I was doing there. I am so fatigued here. This one, just I was lucky to get the bar overhead. It's exhausting. It's hard to breathe when the bar's in that front rack. So great workout. I mean, you know, just coming in, putting in the work, and felt pretty darn good. So thanks so much for watching, guys. We will see you in the next one.